Welcome to ChampionsHeart. You can't play boxing. Featuring boxing addict Johnny Faraće and friends from superfans to superstars. Let's roll.
Hey, boxing fans, and welcome to ChampionsHeart. You can't play boxing, and today I am joined by former multi-time Florida State Golden Glove champion and undefeated 1-0 at 1 KO Cruiserweight Gaspard, SweetFeet, Pierre. What's up, Pierre?
What's going on? What's up, man?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm great, man. I'm good. I just had a nice little training session. I just finished my training session, and now I'm here with you.
There you go, man. Train hard, work hard, and here we go. So, all right, let's just set you up a little bit. You know, you have one pro fight. You had an illustrious amateur, a short but illustrious amateur career. You were a multi-time state champion. Talk a little bit about your first, how you got into boxing. Obviously, the old age-old question. You know, your first day in the boxing gym.
I mean, it's actually crazy how I got into boxing. Like, it's really because of my sister. Like, one day she was on Groupon and she found a little deal for boxing, like $100, 3 months of boxing at this gym called Club KO. She was like, "Oh, please come with me. I don't want to go by myself." And I was like, I was more into basketball. I was like, man, I don't really want to go this and that, you know, cardio class. She's like, come on, we should just go. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go with you. So I did maybe like 2 or 3 cardio classes and things like that. But I just noticed it was like in the far corner of the boxing gym, it was a ring, and I seen people sparring, and I was like, man, I want to get into that, like actually fighting instead of just working out. So that's actually how I kind of met my coach. I seen my coach, he was a fighter at the time, like amateur fighter. He still fights, but I seen him sparring, and I'm like, damn, like I want to get into that. That's where the fun is instead of just hitting on the bag. So I actually, I went to the front desk and I asked them, like, hey, how can I get into like competing and sparring and stuff? And they were like, you got to go talk to this man over here. So they sent me to my coach, and I was like, I want to box. And he looked at me, he was like, man, you don't want to box. You don't want to. And I was like, no, I want to box for real. Like, he was like, all right, come this Saturday. We're going to have a sparring event, and then we'll see where you're at from there. I think it was like a Wednesday, a couple days go by, you know, Friday, and then it's like Saturday morning. And I remember waking up on Saturday morning, and I was in my head, I said, man, should I go or should I just chill out and go to my friend's house? And something in my head was like, the same thing he said. He said, you don't want to box. And when he said that, I was like, nah, fuck that. I got to prove something. So I went and I sparred and I did really good. And then I just stopped. I was fresh. I was maybe like 18, just graduated high school, was about to start college.
And you climbed in the ropes that first time, had and that guy looking across at you coming your way.
It was a dude with a little experience too. They would tell me, oh yeah, he been training for 3 years, like in the gym. And my sister went with me because I had to bring somebody. I was like, let me bring my sister. And she looked at me before I got in there. She was like, do you really want to get? I was like, yeah. I'm like, I don't got nothing to lose. Nobody knows me here. Whatever, I'm gonna get in. And just like roll from there, like training, never stopping, just keep going to the gym. I fell in love with it once I got in the ring.
So fast forward, you end up having 45 amateur fights, winning a number of state championships, including the Golden Gloves, a couple times state PAL championship. You were ranked number 6 in the U.S. for 201. Nationally ranked. You placed bronze in the 2018 National Golden Gloves and won the heavyweight sportsmanship trophy.
Yeah.
Says a lot. I got one of those along the way somewhere in there. But yeah, that means a lot, I tell you. So tell me how, obviously you had a great amateur career. You won a bunch of stuff. You saw that you were really good at it. Tell me how you were feeling there after you started, looking back and seeing all those belts on the wall.
It felt good because I actually started off real solid in the amateurs when I started off. Like my first 3 fights were local and won those, and then it was this tournament. They stopped doing the tournament in ringside. They stopped doing ringside, but it was a huge tournament. And it was like my fourth fight, and we entered that tournament, and I seen how every time I fought, I always seen the levels that was high. I was like, I want to accomplish that. It's like I just wanted to go get it. And then I start, man, I could do this. I could, how I was doing it, I was going for the Olympics and everything.
How'd you do out at ringside?
I actually made it to the finals. My first tournament, I made it to the finals.
Good for you.
I lost in the finals. I placed second, but it was a big eye opener. Like I'm glad. Actually, every fight that I lost, I'm glad I did because I learned from them fights. If I would have won that first tournament I went to, I don't think I would have went as far as I did. That first, like getting so far, seeing the belt on the ring and fighting and then not getting it, like pushed me hard.
Hell yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You bring up ringside, and that's fucking awesome because I've fought there, obviously, and that environment with the 6 rings and the state, you know, the arena and all the people, and like you said, you see the levels. You're like, wow, these guys can fight. These guys can fight, and then when you see yourself right up next to them, you know you can fight. Ended up representing Haiti, your home country of Haiti. You're by the way, you're half Haitian, half Italian.
Yeah, I am.
Yes. You were nationally ranked, obviously, in the U.S., but then you got the opportunity to represent the Haitian team. Talk a little bit about how you went about doing that.
I think it was the end of 2018 or the beginning of 2019 where I was at a fight, and my coach, he met the dude that was over the team, the Haitian team, and he was talking to him, and he was like, yo, one of my fighters are Haitian. Like, he wants to go to the Olympics. He wants to rep his country. So it came down to a point where I had got an invitation to fight for the U.S. Nationals, like to go and compete for their team. And then I also got an invitation to go to Haiti, where they had their first national team tournament. You know, I got that opportunity. I believe they had a spot open at 178. I was competing at 201. And when I first started my amateur career, I was at 178. Then I moved up to 201. So I was at 201, and they was like, yo, it's a spot open on 178 to compete for it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go down to 178 for 2019. I did that, and then I went and I showed out in Haiti, you know what I'm saying? I had like 2 knockouts over there, 2 or 3 knockouts over there, and I got on the team and I represented. I just had to, you know, get my paperwork, show, you know, prove I was Haitian from my father, and that was a wrap from there. And then we also, you know, traveled and did little tournaments and representing that team internationally.
Beautiful. Awesome experience. That international experience is so important. So good.
Yeah. So, like, you know, I had got the opportunity to turn pro because they offered it to me to go pro. And then I was still debating, like, should I go pro or should I still go and compete with the Olympic team with Haiti? But also I was still like deciding should I or should I not. And then also they told me that, you know, they had this new thing coming up within 2020 where you can be pro and still compete in the Olympics.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna turn pro and still compete. I'm gonna get my pro license done and still compete. And they were like, I think I had to keep it under a certain amount of fights. Right. I don't know how many fights at, like 5 or 6 fights, right? So that happened, but out of nowhere, when I was trying to get my first fight, you know, everything was going left with the pandemic. So it was like, all right, I had to probably leave that because they were, you know, they want to do the Olympics 2021, the end of 2021. I'm like, my age, I want to get my pro career started. I don't want to start too late with my age. So I got to start going rolling with my pro career.
Just as the hard knocks of boxing goes, you started off with the hard knocks. Your very, very, very first pro fight got canceled almost a day before the fight.
It did.
Pro fight was then obviously killed because of COVID, as well as everything else. So you really
like 3 days before the fight.
3 days before the fight, exactly so. I remember that day.
First pro fight was like really good, you know. It was a new experience for me, you know, the smaller gloves and everything. Ain't last too quick, but you know, one of those things. It was pretty good. Just a good experience, you know. I'm a boxer puncher. I love to compete with like chest in the ring, you know, set traps. I have a lot of styles too, so I could do multiple things in the ring. I'm not a one-dimensional fighter. The short time I've had, I've learned how to have different styles in the ring. Actually, you know, when it first happened with the pandemic, I was upset, but like looking at it from a different angle now and like in the present, it gave me more time to like change my style, because when I was first coming out as a pro, I still had more the amateur style, like ba 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 ba, throwing a lot of punches and moving. Right now, I'm like within the time I've had, I've learned with my coach how to sit on more punches, solid punches, and still have the amateur experience and background to move how I want. So I've used this time in a in a great way to change my style up and enhance my style. I got a good style, man. I still got a lot of things to prove in that ring to people that want to see. So I've been with my trainer since day one, Coach Eric Rohn. I've been with him.
Yes.
Anywhere we go, I'm sticking with my coach. So we've been to a couple places. Right now we at BSO West Park Pal. That's the gym we're over, and we train here with the kids and everything. It's been shut down since the pandemic, but we still been in here. Any place he goes, I follow. You know what I'm saying? Day one.
Well, what's your prediction for your upcoming fight number 2?
Man, it's gonna be a good one. I'm telling you that right now. Been training hard, been working hard, and it's gonna end nice. It's my homecoming fight. It's in Miami.
Gaspard, SweetFeet, Pierre, 1-0 cruiserweight. I just want to ask you about SweetFeet. What's up with SweetFeet?
SweetFeet came from way back in the day. Like, I was a big dude, and I always had good footwork and move in the ring and take angles and certain things like that. People just weren't like used to that, seeing someone so big like move like that. So that's another thing that I have real good footwork and everything. So it was just a name somebody shouted out who was trained. It was this dude named Fresh that my coach worked with and everything. He was just like SweetFeet. And ever since he said that, we was like, shit, that's a good name. It just sticks. It rhymes with my government name, Gaspard, SweetFeet, Pierre, and it just always stick with me, SweetFeet.
Awesome. Well, it's gonna stick with everybody else too. We're looking forward to you cruising on your pro career here. Fight number 2 coming up. We'll definitely on that and everything. Obviously, wishing you the best of skills and luck that night on February 20th and throughout your whole career, man. Appreciate you coming on and chatting with me. And one final thing on the way out, what's your favorite cheat foods? What do you like to eat when you're not making weight, baby? I'm a pizza and chocolate type guy.
Yeah. I love candy. I love gummy worms and stuff like that. French fries. I love French fries. I gotta stay away from them when I'm in camp and stuff like that. But my favorite food is probably French fries.
All right, man. I appreciate chatting with you, my brother.
I appreciate you for having me, man. Bless.
I'm gonna catch up with you after your next fight. We'll keep on rolling.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Have a blessed day.
You dream big, live large, and love life, okay?
You too, man.